What's up, dudes? I'm the Communicator, and in this video I'm gonna hypnotize you to bark like a dog. As in all of my videos, you'll be asked to leave a comment at the end while hypnotized, so go ahead and log into an account that you can use for that. Mute any distractions, and continue when you're ready to get hypnotized. Alright, so to begin, I just want you to look at the circle pattern in front of you, and just listen to the sound of my voice. And as you listen to the sound of my voice, notice what a relaxing and a pleasant sound it is. And how the more that you listen to it, the more that your body just seems to relax, the more that your mind seems to relax all by itself. Then the more that it relaxes, the better that you feel. The more that you feel a drawing and a pulling, a magnetic sensation that draws your attention, your focus, your eyes towards the center of the circles in front of you. And the more that you feel that feeling, the more that it also seems to relax you as well. The more that you feel a mind-melting feeling, as if the sound of my voice is so warm that it just melts away the thoughts and ideas inside of your mind as they're just drawn out of you by that circle pattern in front of you. And the more that you feel that mind-melting, that pulling, that magnetic sensation, the better that you feel. The more easily that you could just zone out and sink into a wonderful and deeply and totally relaxed and passive state of mind. That just feels so good that the more that you listen to the sound of my voice, the more that you feel that mind-melting feeling. And the more that you feel a wonderful, warm, and masculine and dominant tone from the sound of my voice that just wraps around your mind like a blanket. That just feels so good as you feel that dominant feeling as it presses down on all sides of your mind. That just feels so good. So good that you could just sink down even deeper under the sound of my voice and under that wonderful warm and masculine dominance. That just makes you feel so good, just to continue to feel that wonderful mind-melting feeling of all the thoughts in your mind just dripping down and dropping down as they're pulled out and drawn out by the circles in front of you. It's just as if the pattern in front of you is pulling on your mind, as if it's pulling on you, and the more that it does, the more that you just enter that wonderful and blank, mind-melted state of mind, which is just so passive and even obedient and even submissive to the sound of my voice. And that just feels so good to feel that feeling of dominance as it presses down on your mind. And the more that it does so, the more that you feel wonderful waves of pleasantness, waves of relaxation all throughout the body and all throughout the mind. Man, you feel a feeling of heaviness that builds up inside of the eyelids and inside of the mind. It's just as if you could drop down, go down, and snap down into a completely and totally passive, submissive, and obedient state of mind at any moment. And in a moment I'm going to snap my fingers and say the word sleep. Then when I do, then your eyes will snap shut and the mind will snap down into that state. Man, it's just going to feel so good as you do so. So good just to sink down, to drop down even further and even faster under that wonderful, warm and masculine dominance from the sound of my voice. And now taking a nice and even and deep breath in and sleep. And just relax completely, and just sleep as you go down, as you drop down, sink down, even further and even faster, under that wonderful warm and masculine dominance from the sound of my voice that just wraps around you, around the muscles of your body, just like a blanket, and around the mind, just like a blanket. That just feels so good, just to continue to relax, and to continue to feel that wonderful and mind-melted feeling. And as the sound of my voice continues to melt away all the thoughts inside of your mind as my words replace them, completely and totally replace them. It just feels so good just to be a complete and total blank and just to relax in that mind-melted state. The more that you do so, the better that you feel. And the more that you can feel a magnetic and a pulling feeling from the sound of my voice, that just makes you want to follow and even to obey the commands, suggestions that I give you. And in fact, whenever I give you a suggestion, it just feels so good that you want to follow it, and that you feel a pulling and a magnetic sensation to follow that suggestion. And that just feels so good that you want to receive commands as well, and it feels good to receive those commands, and to follow them, and to even obey those commands. And in fact, each and every time that you hear that word obey, that just makes you feel so good. It feels so good just to obey those commands and follow that masculine, that dominant male authority figure. It tells you exactly what it is that he wants you to do. And that is exactly what it feels like to have a master, to have a dominant male that you can follow and that you can obey. And in fact, each and every time that I say that word master, that just gives you a wonderful spine-tingling sensation all the way from the very bottom of the tailbone to the very tip-top of your head. It just feels so good just to imagine obeying your master. That the more that you imagine that, the better that you feel about it. It feels even better to obey the commands that I give you, and the more that I do, and the more that I slip into that role of your master, that just feels so good. So good to have a master to follow and to obey. But the more that you do so, the more that you slip into the headspace, exactly what it's like to be a dog. And that just feels so good to slip into that headspace, to relax into it, to feel all of the human thoughts in your mind just melting down, dripping down and dropping down inside of you into dog thoughts. And as you feel a feeling and excitement and enthusiasm for obeying your master, for following and obeying the commands, the orders, the suggestions that I give you, this mind just melts down, drips down and drops down into a dog mind. Completely and totally just melts down from a human's mind into a dog's mind. And you can even feel a happy and a playful feeling that billows up and that rises up inside of you. And you can feel it even now as the anticipation of following and of obeying your master just makes you feel so good that you feel a nice, happy, and enthusiastic and a playful feeling about you. That you just want to be commanded by your master, to follow commands and to obey each and every command that I give you. That just feels so good, just to imagine that. The more that you imagine it, the better that you feel, and the better that you feel about entering that headspace of a dog. That just feels so good that you can even feel a feeling now, a spring-loaded sensation inside of your throat right now. A strange sensation that I'm placing there right now with the sound of my voice. It's just as if I'm winding up a spring inside your throat right now, a sound of a bark of a dog. And you can feel it even now. You can feel a feeling of the vocal cords as they're tensing, as they're tightening, as that sound of a bark of a dog is winding up inside of your throat, inside of your vocal cords right now. Then, as it happens, you can feel that tension, you can feel that tightening, you can feel that spring-loaded sensation, even though it might be subtle at first. And the more that you feel it, in fact, the better that you feel about it. The better that you feel about it is you feel a magnetic and a pulling feeling of sensation inside of you, inside of the body, inside of the mind, that is responding to the sound of my voice, to my words, to my suggestions and my commands. And that just feels so good, just to feel that feeling, feel that sensation. And the more that you feel it, the better that you feel about it. And in a moment, in a little while, I'm going to snap my fingers and I'll say the word bark. And when I do that spring-loaded sensation is going to come undone inside of you. And it's just going to be like a frog leaping out of your throat. And that sound, the sound of a bark of a dog, is going to escape from your throat all by itself. And you can feel it tightening and tensing up so much now that you know that whenever you do bark like a dog, it's just going to feel so good. It'll feel so good to release that desire, that need. And it'll feel so good as you follow and you obey the command that I give you to bark, and to bark like a dog. And each and every time that you do so, it just gives you a nice and wonderful, a happy and obedient feeling, a satisfied and fulfilled feeling each and every time that you do so. Just knowing that you're following and obeying your master just makes you feel so good. The snap of my fingers is going to be like a shock to your mind, to your brain. It's just like a shock of energy, a shock of electricity. It just makes that bark just leap out just like that, completely and totally involuntary and automatic. That's just going to feel so good just to release that tension inside of you. And it'll feel better each and every single time. And you might find that the compulsion feels very subtle at first, but the more that you feel it, the more that it seems to take hold, and it takes a grasp of you, both of your body and your mind. And the more that it does take hold of you, the better that you feel about it. And now feel the last bits of energy wind up into that spring. And now, bark. It feels so good to feel that compulsion to bark. Now, bark. It feels so good to feel that compulsion and to respond to it, and the more that you do so, the better that you feel. The more obedient and the more submissive that you feel, the more playful, the more enthusiastic that you feel about obeying your master. It just feels so good to have a master that you can follow and obey. And now, bark. Now soon I'm going to bring you back up into the waking world, and as I do bring you back up, you're going to carry that spring-loaded sensation, that feeling, that effect inside of you, inside of the vocal cords. And each and every single time that I snap my fingers and say the word bark, then you're going to bark just like a dog. But this time, even when you're in a waking state, I want you to try to resist barking like a dog. And you'll find that even if you try to resist, that the more that you try, the more that you do, in fact, bark like a dog. It's just as if all of that resistance that you're using to try to resist that bark is being pulled out and drawn out, and that energy is being used to fuel that barking sound, that barking compulsion. And the more that you try to resist, in fact, the more that you'll just bark like a dog instead. And it's going to feel so good to feel yourself barking like a dog, obeying the orders of your master, even in spite of that resistance. That is going to feel so good. That it just makes you want to bark even more. That it just makes you want to follow and to obey your master even more so. That feels so good. And it becomes exactly what you want to do. Then, in fact, whenever the video ends, whenever it finishes, then you're going to feel a strange feeling, a feeling that wonderful, warm, and masculine dominance will just melt away your thoughts, just like that. And you'll feel a compulsion, a feeling possess you that will cause you to leave a comment at the end of this video. A comment that says, "I am Master Dominic's obedient dog." At the end of the video, you're going to feel a magnetic compulsion, something that seems to possess you, and will cause you to leave a comment that says, "I am Master Dominic's obedient dog." And whenever you leave that comment, you're going to feel a wonderful wave of pleasantness, of pleasure. Of course, it's all throughout your body, as you know that to be true. So you feel a wonderful and a satisfied, a happy, and a fulfilled feeling. And it's a feeling that will bring you all the way back up into the waking world. Now I'll count from 1 to 3, and when I reach 3, then I'm going to snap my fingers. And when I do, then you'll open your eyes, you'll be wide awake. And whenever I snap my fingers and bark like a dog, then even in spite of resistance, then you're going to bark. And when the video ends, you'll leave that comment. Now, beginning with 1, so you begin to feel a lifting and a rising feeling, emotion that takes you back up. And 2, feeling even more energy come back into the body and into the mind, coming up even further and even faster. And now 3, eyes open and wide awake. And now try to resist barking like a dog. And now bark. Yeah, that's it. Bark. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, bark like my dog. Yeah, bark. Yeah, awesome. Alright, dudes. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and check out Dominicator.com to visit my t-shirt store. Check out my digital downloads or schedule a session with me to get hypnotized. Catch you later, dudes.